Did you know that if you look different in any kind of way back in the day, they might have put you in a freak show or publicized you? So today we're talking about Sarah Baartman. And she was one of the first black women known to be subjected into human sex trafficking. In TikTok, this is all factual information and this is just history. She was born in 1789 in South Africa and she had a large buttocks. And the reasoning of that is she had this rare disease, which is now called steatopygia, which basically means you have a lot of excess fat, and her buttocks was literally huge. And not too long after the passing of her husband, she signed a contract with William Dunlap, a physician, even though she wasn't properly educated or could even read, but the contract consisted of her to travel all over Europe and England and Ireland, where she'll work as a domestic servant, even though slavery was technically abolished then. But additionally, she would be exhibited for entertainment purposes. She was supposed to receive a portion of her earnings from her being exhibited, even though she didn't. And a part of the deal was for her to be able to return back to South Africa in 5 years. But however, the whole contract was false and she basically had to be enslaved for the rest of her life. Where basically she would stand up in these different exhibits like she was an animal and they would just show off her body because people were so fascinated and curious by her body makeup. So she basically was this huge sex symbol and they put her on display. And her owner also allowed her to be sexually abused by people that was willing to pay. And her owner generated a significant amount of money due to the public's fascination with her body type. And she sadly passed at the age of 26 in Paris in the year 1815. Now they say the reasons are unknown, but I also read that it was from syphilis or different, diseases that, wasn't able to be treated and probably complications from that. But it states that it's unknown. And y'all want to know the worst part about this whole thing? Even after she passed, they basically cut up her body parts and displayed them in different museums. So even after her passing, she was still just degraded. Like that's just so awful. And some of her body parts remain on display until 1974. Until 1994, South African Nelson Mandela formally requested that her remains be returned back to South Africa. And on March 6, 2002, y'all, her remains were returned and buried in her homeland. That is probably the most craziest, saddest cases I've ever read on. But let me know if y'all heard about this South African woman that goes by the name of Sarah Baartman that was basically publicized in a freak show.